from an ankle fracture. He suffered it on October 11th during the Cowboys' win over the Giants. And ever since, Dallas has been falling apart in really every way possible. This, along with the absence of a long-term deal in place, has our Marcus Spears second-guessing Dak's future in the Big D.
Dak Prescott should want out of Dallas. All right. And I've been holding out and saying that. I've been thinking about, well, they did offer him a contract and all of that. Dak Prescott should want to find a new spot to play football.
All right, Marcus Spears speaking out. Stephen A., what do you say? Should Dak want to stay in Dallas?
Should he want to stay in Dallas? Max, I'll let you go first on this. Let me hear what you have to say on this, Max Kellerman. I got to hear this. Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, I think he should want to stay in Dallas. First of all, in the landscape of American sports history, what are the glamour positions, right? You could be center fielder for the New York Yankees, or point guard or center for the Los Angeles Lakers, or the heavyweight champion of the world, right? I'm naming the real glamour spots in sports. Or, especially in recent times, the number one, quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. It is the glamour position in the glamour sport in the United States of America. That's it. And that's what Dak Prescott is. He is quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, why would you want to leave? Because the team is completely mismanaged. Have the Cowboys been mismanaged? I've lamented, Stephen A., the fact that Jerry Jones won't hire the right coach, and that's kept them back. I've said that he and Stephen Jones are maybe a tick above average as GMs, which is amazing, since they didn't have to earn their spot. He simply bought the team. It's an amazing thing to be a tick above average in a competitive league like the NFL when you're not really a GM. And he's not great, but he is a tick above average. Like, they put pretty good teams around Dak. Dak had a great offensive line, great one, for a number of years. Dak has receivers. They have a lot. They have talent on defense, even if they have the wrong coordinator. So it's not like he's in a completely inept franchise. So you're the quarterback in the glamour spot in American sports, on the glamour team, glamour position, for a team that's not exactly run poorly, right? Now, you could talk about the money that they didn't give Dak. Stephen A., the reason you don't pay the quarterback, and it was a mistake, they should have given him a long-term contract a couple of years ago, and they would have saved money. But saving money isn't good for Dak. It's good for the Cowboys. Cowboys fans like that because they can spend the money elsewhere. The reason you wait so long to pay him is not because you dislike him. You keep him at $2 million because the rookie quarterback window, especially if you take him in the fourth round, you don't have to pay him that much, allows you to spend more money in other positions. That's your window to try to make hay and win a Super Bowl, right? So even that's not exactly mismanaging your chances to win. They didn't do it perfectly, but they were basically a winning team. They looked like a powerhouse a couple of years ago, and coming in to the season, the last couple of years, Dallas was favored to win the division. So you have to consider all of that. And finally, if you're Dak, you want to stick it to Jerry for not paying you. He tried to give you over $100 million. Your agent, in my opinion, foolishly turned it down, and then you got hurt. That's the Cowboys' fault? No, I don't think Dak should want to leave.
I think Dak should want to get the hell up out of there. I really, really do. Because my position has been clear all along, Max, and I'm going to reiterate it again. When you exercise the level of productivity on the football field that Dak Prescott has displayed, and then you couple that with, damn near perfection in terms of his leadership in the locker room and his behavior off the field. For Jerry Jones, who has a history of taking care of other people, who have been less than Dak Prescott, to sit up here and procrastinate and not ink this dude to a long-term deal to his liking, to me is incredibly unfortunate. I understand that kind of negotiate. Everybody wants to say Jerry is, but the bottom line is this. This is your quarterback here, and when you paid the running back and you paid the receiver, you gave Ezekiel Elliott $90 million after he was hanging out in Cabo. You gave Amari Cooper $100 million when so many people were questioning whether or not that was the wisest thing to do. You paid Jalen Smith. You paid DeMarcus Lawrence. You paid numerous other people. But all of this is happening while your star quarterback doesn't get taken care of. I got a problem with that. And see, to me, that's really resonating. And then yesterday, when we were talking about what Jerry Jones had to say, I understand that he was answering questions about Dak Prescott in the radio interview, and I get where he's coming from. But my point is, with Jerry, he's always a businessman, and he's always a marketer, and he knew exactly what he was doing. And he was creating question marks about Dak Prescott. Shouldn't run the football more, because if you do, then you ain't going to be on the field for me as much as I need you to be. It's just all an excuse. Dak Prescott, until this year, never missed a game in his first 4 years. He started all 48 games of his career from the time he entered the league as a rookie. He never missed a game. He made back page news when he missed one practice because he had never missed a practice before, which occurred last year. That was it. And so until this happened, there was absolutely zero, and I repeat, zero evidence of durability questions. There was questions about durability regarding Tony Romo throughout his career. Didn't stop Jerry from taking care of him at the time. And I look at stuff like that, and I say, wait a minute, it does come a point in time where if you want to take care of the people around me that haven't produced as much as I've produced, but you don't take care of me, and I'm playing the most important position, you have sent me a message. You know, that anything that you do for me is begrudging. It's like pulling teeth. You don't want to do it. You might end up being forced to do it, but that's not really what you want to do. Well, if I look around the league, there's plenty of people that might want to do that for me. And if they want to do that for me and they're willing to appreciate me, why shouldn't I want to be with them? Jerry's mentality is, this is the Cowboys. You should feel privileged for being able to represent us. But forget your hard work. Forget your productivity. Forget all of that. You should be privileged that you're wearing this uniform, playing in this stadium, representing this brand. That's what Jerry's mentality is. If I'm Dak Prescott and I have an opportunity to, I tell him to go kick rocks.
He was offered, Jerry Jones, in the end, juiced the contract for all it was worth in order to get the most value out of a fourth-round quarterback who's getting paid $2 million a year to build the best possible team around him. So he spent money on the defense. Remember, he said he needed a war daddy on defense, and he got it, and he paid that guy. And they drafted Ezekiel Elliott so high up, they put their money where their mouth was, and they paid him. And maybe that was a mistake because he's a running back, and running backs are largely interchangeable. It's more about your offensive line. But guess what? He also had an expensive offensive line that he used a lot of first-round draft picks on. He tried to give Dak every single thing. They got him weapons at receiver. They had talent on the defense. And what they found was Dak still couldn't get it done. Maybe it's not Dak's fault. The defense let him down and the coach wasn't good enough. We'll change that, too. Now, they didn't do all these things perfectly, but they did them on his rookie deal. And Stephen A., when it came time to pay him, they offered him, reportedly, over $100 million guaranteed and over $33 million a year in salary. Right in line with Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, who both signed their deals, and I believe in both cases were mistakes. But Dak turned the deal down. What do you want Jerry to do? We can't make him sign it.
Let's not count other people's money. And what I mean by that is that you don't just throw out $100 million like you're supposed to be thankful that you got it. If the market says that a Carson Wentz is getting $107.9 million and a Jared Goff is getting $110 million guaranteed, and you come to me with less than what they're getting offered, and I believe my level of productivity has eclipsed theirs, the market demands that I should get more. That's what I'm saying. So I don't mean that I'm not trying to imply that the money doesn't count. What I'm saying is we understand the game that we're playing here. That's the game that's being played. And so the level of productivity that he put forth, you have to take that into consideration. Then you talk about the coach. How many years were we talking about Jason Garrett needed to go? And Jerry Jones kept him there because that was his boy. Doubt. That was his boy, okay? There was plenty of times that Jason Garrett should have been gone. It was long before this season. Matter of fact, it might have been 3 seasons too late that Jason Garrett was gone. But he still kept him there for no other reason other than that was his guy. So if you feed into Jerry's ego and he's somebody and you're someone that he adores and he wants to treat as an adopted son, well, then guess what? You have a little less resistance when it comes to me giving you what you earn. So Dak shouldn't want to stay
unless the owner treats him as an adopted son? I mean, like, just because he had that relationship with Romo or Garrett, he needs to have it with Dak? Look, the bottom line is this,
I'm saying
Stephen
he doesn't. He
because of the salary cap, all the owners spend the same in the NFL. It's not like Jerry Jones is lining his pockets by not paying Dak. What Jerry Jones is doing is putting a better team around Dak by not paying Dak. And when he eventually did offer to pay him, it was in line. I'm not saying, oh, $100 million.
How do you feel about the fact that he paid everybody around Dak, but didn't take care of Dak?
I think they were negotiating with Dak for too long. I think they should have given Dak a contract a year or two before they did. You know why? They'd have saved money, meaning Dak would be getting paid less, which gives more money around for the other players to put a better team around him. I mean, the mistake in Philly is they overpaid their quarterback. They can't put a good enough team around him. The quarterback's not good enough to elevate the team. The mistake in L.A., Goff is good, but he's not elite. He's being paid like he's elite. Nevertheless, I don't know if Dak's elite. They wanted to pay him like he was elite, in line with the market. And when you talk about why wasn't he even more than Goff or Wentz, you know, when you're in the when you get picked in the fourth round and you're coming from a much lower number, you're incentivized to sign for a tiny bit less compared to Goff and Wentz, who got drafted 1 and 2, right? Nevertheless, do I think Jerry Jones was penny wise and pound foolish? Should he throw in a few extra million on top to make Dak happy? Yes. But Stephen A., we heard, you and I, we all heard, that's not why Dak didn't sign. He didn't sign because his agent felt that with an opt-out, he could get an even better deal going forward, right? If he could shorten the deal. That seems to be a tactical mistake on Dak's side's part because he got hurt. That's not on Jerry. And then Jerry's addressing that. He's saying, I think wrongly, but